Hi, welcome to First Church of Religious Science. Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about limitless abundance. I want to welcome all of you who are new to our call. If this is your first time at a religious science center, we talk about an abundant power that we have within us that operates through us. So welcome to our Sunday morning broadcast. Special welcome to all of you on Zoom, all of you who are signing in now, all of you who have been here for our meditation. And I'd like to welcome everybody also who views us every week. There's hundreds of you now viewing us on social media, on X and Facebook and YouTube. I think we get the most comments through YouTube. So this is becoming a very large virtual community, and all of you are important to us. If you'd like to support what we do here, first of all, there's no charge. You can, if you feel moved to, make a donation in our chat section of the Zoom. There's always a place. And also on Facebook and the other programs as well. So let's begin. We have power within us that can create a much different life for us than we have ever had, and we can begin to utilize that power right now. Some of you who are actively involved in the teaching understand that we teach affirmative living. We teach prosperity. We teach abundance. Principles taught to us by Ernest Holmes, Raymond Charles Barker, our founding pastor, Louise, and others like Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel-Shinn, Eric Butterworth, Catherine Ponder, Edwina Gaines, and others. It was Ernest Holmes who said, "There's power for good in the universe, greater than you, of which you are a part." It's such an important statement. There's power for good in the universe, greater than us, a higher power, an inner power, greater than us, and we can use it. So in our teaching, we learn how to constructively use this power, because some of us are using it constructively through affirmative living, affirmative prayer, because your consciousness is very high and you're not about to get involved in reactive things. You're here to be a lifter and not a leaner. And some of you are doing it, and some of you have been involved in the classwork for many years. And there's many of us who use this power, this creative power, destructively rather than constructively. And that would be a person whose consciousness has not yet evolved to the place where they are, they've lifted it up. This would be a person who's always in reaction to one thing or another. And this just doesn't mean that any of these folks are bad. It just means this is where they are. We're all evolving in light and love. The whole universe is evolving. This spirit is in all. It's in me, it's in you, it's in everyone. And we're each, as was taught to me years ago, evoluting along. So when you get involved into teaching like this, there can be an acceleration, there can be a quickening, because you can quickly get yourself involved and you can start to monitor your consciousness, your thoughts, your thinking, and you can neutralize, you can negate, you can release certain lines of thinking and feeling and turn it all around. You're free to do this. And if you're involved in this teaching regularly, meaning if you tune in often and you do your affirmative prayer work, your meditation and things like that, you'll be amazed before you're halfway through. You can really do great things. You're meant to be here to do great things, by the way. So we live in an abundant universe, one that responds to us. That's what it does. It has to do that. Life responds to you, either constructively or destructively. Again, if I'm walking around with a consciousness of ain't it awful and poor me, and this is what I believe and I've been thinking for most of my life, then I'm unknowingly creating a life that's going to be having a lot of challenges and misery. Misery, though, is optional, or as Ernest Holmes said, suffering is not God ordained. So we want to get smart here. We want to, because your inlets and outlets of God activity, and as you start to wake up and you realize, oh my God, it's done unto me as I believe, then we're going to get smarter. We're going to find ways to stay connected for longer periods of time. And we're going to release the need to be involved in the stuff that just bogs us down, weighs us down. And it's our habitual thinking, it's our thoughts. So all these New Thought teachers that I just mentioned, we're talking about this great possibility we have to step out of what has been our experience and into a world of harmony, peace, prosperity, happiness. And as we practice our teaching, we get an opportunity to be more correct. We have an opportunity to experience endless opportunities to expand and to just entirely level up our entire consciousness. So our teaching is about living the affirmative life and living the abundant life. Our teaching tells us limitless abundance lies within, or limitless abundance is available to me now. Those are great affirmations. Limitless abundance is available to me right now. When we were confronted with, I'll say in First Church, declining attendance back before I got here, 2016 and 17, we knew we were abundantly supplied and supported, so we needed to think about how we are showing up in the world in a different way. We needed to start saying that there is a way, and the way will be shown to us. The way will be shown to us, and and the thing is, when you're in religious science, you learn to put a demand on consciousness. You say, I'm supplied and supported, and you trust the process because the universe will start to fill in the details and give you clues as to how you can move forward. So sometimes it's really important for us to take a pause and go within and ask questions of spirit, and answers will come to you. Abundance, limitless abundance is available to us. Our founder, Raymond Charles Barker, used to say, I have a rich father, and he was thinking in terms of the congregation here. And, he had a lot of challenges, but he knew that we are supplied and supported. So that's the way we always want to think, right? Limitless abundance is available to me. In Louise Hay's meditative exercise, she asked us a question. She said, as you approach this infinite ocean of life, what container are you carrying with you? And she might say, is it a thimble or a coffee cup, or is it something, really vast and using your imagination? You can see yourself where every cell of your body is connected to this infinite ocean of life. She said, we're each carrying a container, and then asked, what size container do you have? Because our abundance in all areas of our life depends upon your container, or I would say on your degree of expectancy, what you expect. It depends on our receptivity to good and our willingness to expand and have a greater receptivity or a container to good. Thankfully, at least with the First Church, we're in a much better place than what we were back then. We've put a lot of demands on consciousness, and we've listened to spirit, and we've done visioning, and we still have a long way to go. But we have a vision, and we've been growing by leaps and bounds at a time where most of these types of communities are not. One of my teachers, the reason I bring all this up, is one of my teachers was a Reverend Norm who was from Colorado. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. And he did a presentation on abundance, and he also taught me a few courses on church growth, and the book Good to Great he reviewed with me and with others. So he was somebody who talked a lot about abundance and was a teacher to me, especially the book Good to Great. And the book Good to Great was a great inspiration for part of the planning that we had here to bring us out of the old way of doing a church into this new era. So we had to face facts. We had to understand that churches as we knew them were going down the drain more or less, and We had to figure out who we wanted to be, what we had to do to get there. And then when COVID hit, we really had to figure it out. Anyway, I had years of notes and audios and on the material that was taught to me, and especially on one of his talks on abundance. He and I were both Vermonters. Originally, he did a talk on abundance where he recalled that the lake was Lake Champlain. It got all jammed up, and everything depended upon that lake and its rivers, Winooski and all that, going south into other states and other bodies of water. And it was that very image that got him to talk about and think about the flow of abundance. And here's what I'll say. Most of this is repeating some of his ideas, but so I want to make sure I give him credit. Sometimes our lives seem to flow really, really well. Think of it, you've had times where it's just all seemed to be like synchronistic. Everything's working out well. And you think, oh my God, I'm plugged in. I love religious science. I love new thought. And then all of a sudden, abruptly, it stops or things get jammed up. Have you ever noticed when this happens? Again, have you ever noticed this? You're going along and things are great, and you think, oh my God, this teaching's working for me. I'm supplied and supported. Life is good. And then all of a sudden, something happens, and it shakes you. It really upsets your life. And then you go into this place where you're upset, and you're telling yourself, maybe things aren't working out. Maybe this doesn't work for me. Maybe I'm not taking good enough care of myself. Maybe I'm getting away from my spiritual connection. You start to question everything. There can be a lot of different things that happen when there's an abrupt change that comes in our life. But one thing for sure when it's happening is we don't feel like we're in the flow anymore. So here we are, New Thought students, and we find ourselves griping or complaining, and we know that that's not the way this is supposed to work in this teaching. We're supposed to be living the affirmative life, and life somehow has just thrown a curve, and the best response is to know that you're supplied and supported, and to stay with the idea that I am supplied and supported in every way. But that's not what a lot of people do. Reverend Norm in his talk was saying people tend to gripe, and they start griping, and how's that working for you? It's just it'll make it worse and worse. So first thing to know is when things happen, it's okay. You're human, and if you find yourself in a place where you're sad or feeling badly, it's okay. And maybe you've gone to those places where you've kind of lost your way for a short time. Louise Hay would say, never beat yourself up for being where you are. What you want to do is try to lift yourself out of that state of consciousness and bring yourself back to the place where all is well and that you're supplied and supported. We've simply forgotten for a moment. We've forgotten this. We've forgotten that in truth, we're really supplied and supported, even when things happen. And if sometimes when we're out there and things happen, you might find yourself going back to an old tape, an old place where you're telling yourself nothing works for you, and you'll be blaming others or blaming circumstances and for what happened. So when that happens, all I can say for everybody is, lovingly get yourself back on track. For the people who stay tuned to the broadcast and who stay tuned to the teaching, they don't seem to stay down or go down as far. So this morning, in our talk on abundance and knowing how we're supplied and supported, let's reflect on the idea, is there any area of our life that might feel blocked or damned right now? We're thinking about that Champlain lake that Reverend Norm was talking about, which fed everything. Is there any area of your life like that lake that when it got dammed up, that things weren't working beneath it? Are there any blockages in our relationships, our jobs, our finances, places where we're lacking faith or where we're lacking enthusiasm, or we're not practicing the affirmative life? Is there some place where we crave more of something, more abundance, or we don't feel like we have enough, or there is enough? If you can identify any of these places where you're blocked, or as he said, dammed up, where things are not flowing wonderfully, that's really great. So here's the question again: is there any area of my life where I feel, I'll say, blocked up, dammed up? If so, let it come to mind. Because if there's something that comes up today, great, because we want to see it, and we want to unblock ourselves. We must be open and willing to unblock the dams. We must be open to release things. And so discovering them is really helpful, because likely it's some area that you've been repeating in your life. We want to be open to the infinite possibilities that life is always offering us. We want to be open to change, and most of all, we want to be open to receiving. Life is here. It's just, you've got an enormous account in life, meaning it's there to give you everything. And what are you approaching the ocean of life with? We want to be open and receptive to receiving all good. And if there is any area where we're blocked up with old ideas, opinions, thoughts, or what he called dams, we want to clear those areas out. He mentioned that there's some very common dams that people have, which I'll briefly address. One is a lot of people have a fear of failure in everything and anything, small things, big things. So these fears of failure completely stop you from pursuing your dreams. Or, you start and you'll stop because you'll give up real quick. So this fear acts like a massive dam. It blocks the flow of creativity, has a tendency to paralyze us from being creative or taking first steps and or staying with it when there's a slight problem. Another common dam or place that can really slow us down is where we maintain resentments. If you're holding on to anything about anybody, please understand it's certainly your right to do so. But the thing about it is, it's your right to hold on to these resentments, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help you. Resentments, anger, and all that creates a significant blockage that affects your emotional well-being and your spiritual well-being. And the Reverend would say it dams you up. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're approving of everything that's happened, hurtful behavior and all of that. But what it does do is it releases the burden of anger and resentment, and it releases a lot of things that are toxic to your own health. So we want to really practice forgiveness. Forgiveness for ourselves for every mistake we've ever made, knowing that we did the best we could while we were growing, and forgiving the people, and you know who they are. It's just, if they're there in your mind, really it's up to you to do it. And because it helps you to forgive. The act of forgiveness is for you. It's to open up the dam so you can experience peace, healing, and a more abundant life experience. Another place where people really block their flow is when they're completely resistant to things that are new. I know when I came to this center, this church, there was so much resistance to change, but the obvious fact was that we were not able to pay our bills, and the attendance had been declining for a decade, and people want things to be the same. I got news for you in my life, in your life. Most of us who've been around a long time understand that change is a constant. It never stops. So we want to learn how to go with the flow and be teachable and figure out what the world wants, or figure out what we want, and be open to change. Most of us have heard over and over again that it's the only constant in life. I remember reading from one of my many courses in psychology, or philosophy, the pre-Socratics. Heraclitus said, you cannot stand in the same river twice, meaning that life, think of a river. You're there standing in it. You go there next week. You're not in the same place. The river's changed. You've changed. Everything's changing. Whether it's a change in your living circumstances. Maybe you had to you're upsized, downsized, you moved in with a family member, brought on a different housemate. Maybe your family dynamics have changed, your life circumstances have changed, your health has changed. Any and all this can be a very, very big deal for people. If we're able to embrace change and to get ourselves to see everything through a positive lens. You know, here, the religious scientist is going to say, there's got to be some good in this for me. And that's tough because sometimes it doesn't look good, it doesn't feel good, but you know, the person who's really working this teaching they have this unflappable thing where they say, there's got to be good in this, you know, because life is unfolding in perfection. And to the extent you can undam yourself and unleash yourself in this way and to see change as a positive thing, you're opening yourself up to such wonderful possibilities, a life full of excitement where you see good things happening and you're willing to let go of other things. So if we're open to change, we align ourselves with the dynamic flow of life, right? And the dams that we have, you know, where we just don't want things to change, we're willing to let it go and trust life. Another place where people get bogged down is with a scarcity mentality. And that's born out of what Louise Hay would talk about, the not enough, where I'm not enough, there's not enough, I'll never be good enough. So another place where people get dammed up or bogged down is having a scarcity mentality. If you're still believing after all these lessons that there's not enough good for you or there's not enough good to go around, that's going to definitely limit your experience of abundance. A scarcity mindset creates a dam that blocks the flow of prosperity and opportunities that would otherwise be coming to you. If you had a consciousness where you know that everything is working out, everything is working out, I'm in the perfect place, perfect time, I'm supplied and supported. If that is really your consciousness, then that's going to be your experience. By cultivating an abundant attitude where you acknowledge that the universe is supporting you and that you are supplied and supported, and that there's plenty for you and there's plenty for everyone. As you do that, as you affirm it, as you know that, as you bring that into your being, you will attract more abundance in your life, more abundance than you have known in the past. Another place where people dam up their abundant life is by not loving and taking care of themselves. Often we put ourselves last, or we're neglecting care of ourselves. We're not getting the sleep, we're not getting the rest, we're not getting the exercise. Maybe we're not, eating properly. If you don't take care of yourself over time, this is going to create a dam. It's going to create a dam for you psychologically. It's going to create a dam for you physically. And it blocks the flow of love and care that we deserve. Nurturing ourselves is important. So opening up that dam, so self-love, the dam to self-love and self-acceptance. And that ties into Louise Hay's work. She said, love the self, love the self. I love myself the way I am, is one of her quotes. We want to open ourselves up to that. So that when we do, that enhances our capacity to receive love and give love freely. We can reduce these ideas of scarcity, negativity, neglect, and fear. And when we do it, we will turn everything around. So wherever you find yourself, not being stingy or just, if it's with money or if it's anything else, just find a way to turn that around through affirmations. Affirmations, I'm supplied and supported, and being mindful of our conversations and meditation. You'll notice the blockages, you'll notice what comes up, and then you can affirm, you can release them, and you can affirm the truth of yourself. Willingness is the key always. I want to have the willingness to release any of these blocks. And as I do, these shadows will go away. So we can embrace the light that's within us. And as we do this, not only do we open the dams within, but also become conduits of love and light for ourselves and to the people around us. If we can become like the children, be trusting and stay open, then we allow the divine flow of abundance, joy, peace to move through us, enriching all aspects of our lives. I'm sure everyone remembers Louise Hay saying, we're each 100% responsible for our life. So we're gradually learning to stop griping and complaining. This is something that Reverend Norm was talking about. If you stay with us, we're going to understand never, never, never criticize ourselves, never criticize other people. We want to take our conversations to a higher place and stop complaining. Louise Hay would say, remembering and forgetting. It's the game we play. Well, there it is again. We're doing fine. The flow is going and we're feeling well. And then we get ourselves, unfortunately, to a place where we've forgotten. And then you go, oh my goodness, here I am again, blaming myself, blaming other people, pointing fingers. So when we do that, again, have compassion for yourself. It happens. For a moment, we've forgotten that we live in an unlimited universal energy for good that's full of infinity, that wants to allow things to flow into our lives. Limitless abundance is available to us now. It's a way of living and thinking. It's not just about money or things. Poverty, too, is a way of living and thinking. And that's not just about a lack of money or things either. It's consciousness. How you perceive life is how the universe is going to give you life. I'll say that again. The way you look at life, the way you perceive it, is how the universe will give you life. So please, please, please just have a more expanded outlook on everything. If you think it's over, it's over. If you think of life as being ever abundant, then you're going to experience life as being ever abundant. The universe is going to meet you exactly where you are. I repeat that. The universe is going to meet you exactly where you are. So please, why do we want to be weighed down by worry? Wouldn't you prefer to fly high with happiness and joy? Now, about fear, it's like this big scary shadow that follows us around. FEAR, false evidence appearing real. It loves to tell us stories about all the scary things that might happen. But here's a fact. Most of the time, fear is just making things up. False evidence, again, appearing real. I heard this funny story once from a wise friend. She once said, fear, that's the story we tell ourselves about something that hasn't even happened. Because when you look at life with positive expectancy, where you know it's good, life is going to mirror your knowing it's good. It's going to reflect what you really know. So start looking at life and knowing that it's good. Show life a face full of worry, and it'll frown right back at you. But smile, laugh, and dance, and know that you're supported. Know that you're the star of your own show, and life's going to throw you a party that you're never going to forget. It's going to mirror what you know. On a much lighter note, our lives are like a canvas painted with the thoughts and feelings we choose to hold. It's like the apps on your iPhone or your Android. The ones you use most shape your digital experience, right? Yeah, I know. That's true for me. Similarly, our habitual thoughts and feelings create life experiences. Our life's direction is guided by the framework of our thoughts and our feelings, and that's the blueprint of our existence. It's not just about thoughts going around in our heads, but also the emotions that fuel these thoughts. Together, they're a powerful engine that drives us forward. Let's accelerate with our life. Let's get passionate with our affirmations. Let's release the brakes, all the ways we tell ourselves we can't do it, we're damned up, and let the journey towards prosperity truly begin. This morning, I ask you, what are you waiting for? Dr. Holmes, our founder, taught us about a great power of directed thought. We have power to use, he said, right? Of directed thought. This is our executive power where we align ourselves with peace, power, love, joy, beauty, abundance, where we align ourselves with the infinite possibilities of the universe, We're one with this universe. So everything it has, we have, but we need to align ourselves with these ideas. We have unlimited power available to us. So start using the power. Small victories lead to larger triumphs. So, see the good in your accomplishments, because our victories prove to ourselves that we're capable of more than we imagine. Second is, by accelerating, it's time to press down on that gas pedal of life, inviting prosperity to flow more freely, knowing that you deserve it. And finally, by moving, because the universe springs into action when we do. I have a story here. I'm reminded of an elderly gentleman, a former concert violinist, who faced a tough task of auctioning his prized possessions. It was time for him to let go of his dwelling. Initially, his most prized possession was his violin, because he was a violinist. Initially undervalued, it just got bids of $5 or $10. He's at the auction. He's upset that his prized violin, the work of his life, it doesn't look like anybody wants to bid on it. They bids of $10, $15. So he got up there and he started playing it one last time, putting all his passion and love into his music. And that's where the true value was. Once it was recognized, the auctioneer heard bids of 100 and then 1,000. And it went up and up and up till he sold it for a small fortune. This story illustrates the transformative power, the power we have to demonstrate, the power that we have to play our, we'll call it violins, the violins of our lives in a different way that will amplify their worth. All of us, with our affirmative prayers, with all the things we do, when we put passion and our faith behind what we do, we're going to bear great fruit. So we're all equipped with this incredible gift, this gift of life. So let's pick up our violins and our talents and dreams and our aspirations and play them with passion. And as we do, we won't only be enriching our own life, but we'll also be contributing to life everywhere. In our exploration of prosperity and abundance, let's get into a broader understanding. Prosperity always extends far beyond wealth. It encompasses the enrichment of our lives through knowledge, relationships, wisdom, and experiences. And as we gather here today, as we always do, celebrating life and power that we have and our connection with Source, as we celebrate one another in this journey that we all are embarking on in this wonderful community, let's be mindful of the limitless possibilities that we have, that surround us, that surround this group, that we have individually. It's a moment for us to embrace growth individually and collectively. We understand our identity better now as we come together more and more. We know that we're one with the One. So let's demonstrate to the world, to the extent of our capabilities. Let's start shining more. The world eagerly anticipates our unique song. When you're grounded in the assurance of limitless abundance, that you're one with it, then you might break, you might be broke, but you can never be poor. Within you is a limitless potential of creativity and substance. What do you need to remove? What would you like to release today? Could it be an attitude? Could it be a person that you want to release? Could it be a job or doing something that you don't like doing? Could it be your fear around finances? Here's the thing with our teaching: expect your every need to be met. Expect your every need to be met. Expect the answer to every problem. Expect abundance on every level. Expect to grow spiritually if you stay with it. You're not living by human laws when you're practicing this teaching. Expect miracles and see them take place. That's right. Whatever you expect, you shall get. Now let's think about our lives this morning once more. Is there some place where we might be shortchanging ourselves? Think about it. And if there is a place, think about letting it go. Last but not least, open up the dams. Open up every dam, at every place where you think that you're stuck. I wanted to share one more article that someone wrote on a paper in California. It starts out, I was heading to San Francisco for lunch, and I drove towards one of those toll booths, and I heard the loudest music as I approached. It sounded like a party or a concert going on. And I looked around, and there was no other cars around, no trucks were around. I looked at the toll booth, and inside of it was a man standing up and dancing. And I asked, laughing, what are you doing? He said, I'm having a party. And he said, and I asked, well, what about these other toll booths? And looking over at the other booths, and there was nobody dancing there, just people sitting there. And he said, they're not invited. I had so many questions I could have asked him, but somebody behind me started to honk, so I had to move out and thinking, I need to find this guy again someday. And I remember there was magic in his eyes, and months later I did see him again, still with loud music, still having a party and still dancing. Once more I asked, what are you doing? He said, oh, I remember you. He said, I'm still dancing, and I'm having the same party. And I said, look, what about all the rest of these people, as I asked you before? He says, what do those people look like to you? And he pointed down the row of toll booths. And he said, like, they look like they're all toll booths. He said, no, use your imagination. I said, I give up. He said, well, they're more like vertical coffins, and I'll tell you why. He said, at 8:30 in the morning, they come in, live people come in, and they die there for 8 hours. And at 4:30, like Lazarus coming out of the grave, they reemerge and they go home. For 8 hours, their brain is on hold, dead on the job, going through the motions. And I was amazed that this guy had developed his philosophy, even mythology about his work. And I asked the obvious next question, why is it so different with you? You're having such a good time. And he looked at me and he said, I know you're going to ask that. He said, I'm going to be a dancer one day, a good dancer. And he pointed to his administration bill on the wall of his booth and said, my bosses are paying for my education, my training. And I want everybody to know, 5 years later, he was dancing at the San Francisco Ballet. My friends, our life is like a toll booth. And every day we get in, and we're called to collect the highest consciousness and be the highest consciousness that we can be every day. Or we can get into a vertical coffin. If you want to undam your flow of prosperity in your life, resurrect, shake it off, learn to dance, get out of the coffin, learn to move towards which you are seeking and seeing, and it shall seek you. Again, learn to move toward that which you are seeking, and it shall seek you. Learn to move and create and have your being in a universe that is for you and never against you. Learn to pick it up, whatever the challenge is that's in your life, and know that God is here and work with it. Create with it in the process. And I love this. Here's a little joke for you. A baby mosquito came back after his first day flying. His dad asked him, how do you feel? And he replied, oh, it was so wonderful. Everyone was clapping for me. So here it is. The universe is clapping for you. Are you hearing it? Are you hearing it? Are you moving? Are you circulating your good? Are you circulating your wealth? Stop holding on to all of it, my friends. Get out of the coffin. Life is always unfolding, and it's about expansion and growth. Missing the mark, by the way, is one of the best ways to learn how to hit the target. So keep trying till you get it, right? When life won't budge, learn to move in a different direction and grow, move, and create. Our founder, Dr. Holmes, puts it this way. Each one of us is a fountain of life. There's a spiritual presence in each and every person, a life force that's seeking an outlet through each and every one of us. You and I live in an unlimited universe just waiting to open up and express itself through you. The invitation today is to expand, to get passionate about life, to open yourself up and to allow life to flow through you, to undam the parts of our lives, to undam the fear, the lack mentality, the limitation. It's time to expand. I'm going to close this morning with one of Norm's favorite stories. There was a young woman, probably in her late teens, waiting a long time at the Hong Kong airport. Everything about her said she was an American going home after a wonderful journey. And she was sitting there with her bags, a knapsack, and souvenirs. And nearby, sitting, I noticed she started to cry. And I reached over, I gave her some Kleenex. Finally, after a few moments, she told me about her problems. She was very agitated because she realized that she couldn't find her airline ticket to go home. And she cried again, and I gave her more Kleenex. I offered to help her with the airline to talk to them or get her a new ticket. Gratefully, she stood up to walk over to the counter. And as she stood up and grabbed her stuff and her belongings, she screamed the loudest scream. I'm sure everyone thought that she'd been attacked or something. But no, it was her ticket. She was sitting on her ticket. She'd been sitting on her ticket for hours. And then she laughed and she cried and she left the entire lounge delirious from her drama and excitement. This story has been shared many times in many places. My friends, each of you have been given a gift. You've been given a ticket to life, an abundant life, a ticket to expand, to grow, to prosper, and to enrich your community. Yet sometimes we find ourselves sitting on this very ticket, unaware of the immense potential that we possess. Get off your ticket. Get off your ticket. So at this point, let's close our eyes for a moment, turning inward, letting us embrace the sacred moment together, this affirmative prayer. I recognize in this moment the boundless presence that's the essence of all life, the infinite source of love, wisdom, and creativity that's in all of us. This presence is the foundation of everything, and it's an unending well of potential, peace, abundance. It's the heartbeat of everyone's existence. I'm one with this infinite power, this flow. My life is a reflection of this boundless potential. My spirit is an echo of its eternal song. I'm one with this all-encompassing source, an embodiment of its infinite creativity, love, and wisdom. From this place of unity, I affirm that my life is vibrant and prosperous, filled with abundance and joy. I am a magnificent creator, and my violin, my talents, my dreams, my passions are played with gusto, creating ripples of positivity and growth. Every thought, word, and action is a note in a symphony of my divine purpose, contributing to the harmony of the universe. I am prosperous, not just in material wealth, but in love, relationships, knowledge, experiences. Limitations dissolve, and in their place are opportunities for growth and fulfillment. With a heart filled with gratitude, I give thanks for this realization, for the abundance that flows in me and through me. I'm deeply thankful for this journey, for the lessons learned, for the love shared. This gratitude creates a powerful, powerful resonance, attracting even more blessings. I release this affirmative prayer into the law of the universe, knowing that it's done. My words are a declaration of truth, setting into motion the fulfillment of my heart's desires. I let go. I let the divine wisdom orchestrate the perfect unfolding in my life. And so it is. And now I invite each and every one of you to join us in this interactive segment of our gathering. It's really the most special part, I think. It's time for people to share their good news, your thoughts on abundant living, or anything pertinent to this day. It's a moment to connect, to listen, to celebrate our collective wisdom and the joy of our community. So let's welcome one another. If you're new, be sure to say hello. Let's be open and ready to hear and share the stories that shape our journey together. We'll see you in just a moment.